Greetings, Zimbabwe, and welcome to Behind the Microphone, a program where we bring you current affairs issues and put them on the table so that we talk about them in detail. How are you doing? My name is Yvonne Muchaka, and it's my pleasure to join you this afternoon as we talk mental health on this World Mental Health Day. Did you know that today is World Mental Health Day? Well, right now, these days, there's a day for everything. So just come up with something and it's a day we'll celebrate it. But today, our focus is on making mental health and well being for all a global priority. And to help me talk on those issues, I have Tawanda Murepa coming through from the Young People Mental Health Trust and Dorothy Hove coming through from the Zimbabwe Women's Resource Center Network. Welcome, lady and gents.
Ladies.
Lady and gent, welcome.
Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Right.
Today.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and your organization.
So, as you rightfully said, my name is Dorothy Hove, and I'm with the Zimbabwe Women's Resource Center Network as the Executive Director.
Mhm.
So, just a bit about the organization is that we are a women's rights organization, and we've been in existence since 1990, pushing forward the agenda for women. And so, every day for us is a commemoration and a celebration of women out there.
Excellent. Awesome. And over to you. Youth Mental Health Matters. Tawand, tell us more.
All right. My name is Tawanda Mreka. I'm the Executive Secretary for Young People Mental Health Trust, a youth lead organization that focuses on youth mental health. So for us to achieve our goal, we don't mainly focus on youth alone, but we also collaborate with other sectors or other stakeholders, the parents, the church, the institutions, for us to eliminate or to push forward to spread the message on mental health.
Right. And today is World Mental Health Day. Now, in order for us pushing this agenda of making mental health and mental well-being a priority for all people globally, it means at a local level, we must be making strides toward dealing with this new problem that has come in this century. Now, maybe you can give us a brief, I'll start with you, Dorothy, around mental health in Zimbabwe.
Thank
Where
you
are
so
we?
much for that. I think what's alarming is the rate at which every day we wake up and there's a suicide story in the press, on social media, there are suicide stories. And for us, what's worrying is that, we find that women are also at the center of this. And to us, we need to start questioning why. And therefore, you'd find that from that, we decided to call upon different partners to start tackling and demystifying mental health. There's always been this notion that mental health is for the elite, mental health is for the European countries, and therefore we've not given it its due priority. But I think after COVID-19 or during COVID-19, it then became a lived reality for Zimbabweans. And therefore you find that this year we decided to commemorate this day in a special way. And through the partnerships that we've forged, we've got Patch Media, we've got an organization, I'll say the abbreviations, AWOL, Access Lab, we've got Tawanda here, we've got
Tawanda, the organization. Interesting.
various organizations. Yeah, the names, wow. So much. We've got, it's called Heart and Health. We've got, and we've got Say What. Say What, they also became a part of this. And more so what we then did is we utilized the partnership that we have with the Women's University and thought, why not take this commemoration there?
Right.
And because of the long-standing partnership that the Institute has with the Zimbabwe Women's Resource Center Network, we were able to then hold our commemorations today, and it was quite something else.
Right.
The young people, we still have a long way to go, because I think when you talk about this and you don't talk about the real lived stories, they might think that, this is not for us. We are here to study. and yet they are the most affected. Pressure, peer pressure. These days, kunema slay queen, kunema blesser, kunema influencer. Every day I wake up, I'm hearing these new phenomena, and I'm thinking, will our children survive all this? So we tried to, start the conversation, and more is to follow, definitely.
Right.
To follow.
On that note, I want to come to you, Tawanda, and what you mentioned about young people. Peer pressure garange ngoriko. Takangokura nayo peer pressure. Maslay queen anga aripo, I think ndwataitwa masalad pageneration yedu. Blesser anga angoripo, ndwainzi mashuga daddy. Saka, what's so peculiar about this generation?
There's what we call generational change, number one, but I'm not going to focus more on that one. I think rasika about this generation is parenting.
Okay.
I always say, whenever I get this opportunity, I always point out, I think we are losing it. I was having this conversation with some parents, and they were like, vana vari kuchinja, vana vaita so. And then I was like, okay. So back then in the 80s or 70s, maifamba muchinotsvaka mombe musina kupfeka bhutsu. Maita zvamaitwa kupa nevabereki, maenda kumunda, maita so. Is those same thing ndozvamuchiri kuita here kuvana venyu?
Development.
No. So if you're not doing those same things, so why do you want your kids to behave as Jamai behave?
Okay.
If you change the parenting style now.
Okay.
So the results of Shirikuita is not like Janko Buddha from Norway, but because of how they were raised by the parents.
But clearly, the reason why they're not raising their kids the same way that they were raised is because there was a problem. They didn't like it.
No.
Vhurira mombe uende woswera ako kukanayo unenge wakahwanda mubako.
An example,
Okay.
right? I'm not saying do all those practices and that, right? I'm also saying even the parenting, the way of the conversation.
Okay.
It's very different from nowadays. Because nowadays they talk about and then provide magetsi, chikafu and everything.
And that's it.
That's it. Pana conversation yemwana.
Okay.
What's gonna say? It's now it's very, very difficult. So from that angle now, mwana chona ndeti wake arongona munhu anotyisa or arongona munhu waanoenda kana aona need if it is necessary. But sometimes okay. So basically,
you always have your earphones. You guys, you keep your ears closed. You're on your phones. If I say anything, that
look now. My phone in your side, my phone, my content in your phone pocket. Kumba, it's the same setup. Mom's namtara, my phone now 1 hour communicator, then one connected over side. So peer pressure is on the phone, on the social media, on my friends. Because my friends are the one on to have and pass no tawan. So can only problem so can only so I'm getting advice outside, but the kind of kumba munese and phone yake, or I'm being asked to say so I know and then our parents became so annoying because we want to avoid those questions. We call them silly questions or some sort of then
okay.
I think my mom somehow.
Not yet. My kids are small.
My place not as yet. But I think just to add, the advent of technology has really played a significant role.
Right.
Because
it's brought in new challenges.
We were only limited to the landline, and we had the TV.
ZTV. Yes.
And
Tangana 3 chivarana early as well after news.
So you find with I'm not downplaying the strides that have been made around child rights programming, but I think it's now how we are interpreting it.
Okay.
So, and how we want to borrow the Western ways of living.
Yeah.
And treating
naughty corner. Go and sit on the naughty corner.
Because mwana ukamuti ndinokurova anokudza kuti ndinokusungisa. But isusu why taitorwa neziso usati watorwa neshamu. Tukaenda musikanzwa, our parents would look at you with that eye to say nas what are you
Right.
doing? And
Right.
you'd always say, oh, okay, ndatokanganisa. What are you kurumidza kuti ndanorara?
Mm.
But when they question you
Mm.
to say, so why do you want to hit me? Why are you taking my phone?
Mm.
So I think that also is exposing the young ones to things and content that, even as parents, we need to take up a significant role to monitor. It shouldn't just be a mobile kuchikora kuri kunzi kuri kudiwa mafoni nematablets, and then you just say shandisa, you put data and that's it. Monitor the
Kuti izvi zviri
content, the phone.
kumboonekwa.
Asingafungire.
Right.
And anongoza kuti at any time my mom, my dad can come and say ndipe phone yako, or just take the phone. So I think that's where we could be losing it, because I know of a situation where one kid who was up around 16 years, social media and a laptop, and they say the parents are forever busy. And so he joined this group online, and they were being told that, you're a superior being, you can do this, you have power, you're invincible.
Right.
And they took him through steps of how to even kill himself. And so it was a doctrine that was being fed to the
child,
child.
via the
And
social
he didn't,
platform.
he didn't know.
Of course.
But of course, he would talk about it with his friends. And then one day, he just told his friends and says, I think today is my day. And these guys thought, he's just joking. And they said, what do you mean? And says, today is my day. I feel it in my heart. I've been following this video, and they say when you feel it in your heart, the time is ready. So they tried to reach out to the parents, and then the parents
They're not reachable.
they didn't react as fast. But aka follow my steps, that video, and he killed himself. But it was too late. So some of these things can be avoided, especially for our young generation. For adults, I think it's something totally different.
Right.
Because we have this thing, marererwa takaita are a bit different. So you might
it
find
kind of anchored us into
Andikwanisa
something.
kuenda kuna Tawanda to yourself and say, I'm feeling low. We don't check in. And if I come to you and I say, I'm feeling low, the next thing is you go to the next person and say,
And I think we're Gandaredu, we're not really into that. I remember I asked this of the other race, how are you? He's like, I'm okay. He said, how's your family? And he said, thank you for asking that question. Oh, I'm happy. And he began to really, and I was like, oh my God, I did not intended to spend more than 10 minutes on this, but we ended up having a very elaborate conversation around the kids, the expectations versus, the economic status and everything, and how that was affecting him, But for me, how are your kids? They're fine. Even the other one has got a tummy bug, they're fine. With ndikataura chaizvo anoroyiwa, they can't be okay, we can't be good. Now on that, I think we've spoken a lot of things that are affecting young children these days, but maybe to help somebody understand, when we say mental health and wellness, tumboti kudi.
Okay. This thing is quite interesting.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friends to say, okay, so wow, this is something else. So when you're talking of mental health and well-being, we can't separate the two.
Okay.
And I like the way that they try to kushpatanidza mental health and well-being, because when you're talking of mental health, you're talking of social, emotional, and psychological well-being of a human person,
right?
A human being. So, but now they say mental health and well-being. So, what they're saying is just, is your social life okay? Is your psychological life okay? Is your emotional
life okay?
Right? And then with that concept, we are now saying, trying to realize how important mental health is. Right? Because when you're just talking for mental health, a global well-being for all, we're just saying mental health, so what is it? But well-being now is trying to make us realize how important this issue is. So I think, yeah, I think whoever came up with this theme, they did
Yes.
justice.
So today is World Mental Health Day for those of you who are just joining us, and we are talking mental health in Zimbabwe. Where are we? What are the challenges, and what are the prospects for us to build our nation? And the theme is make mental health and well-being for all a global priority. In order for us to fight a lot of the vices that we're fighting as we look at sustainable development goals, we also need to ensure that you are healthy, not just physically, but mentally as well, which is why we are commemorating this day. And in studio, I have Dorothy Hove coming through from the Zimbabwe Women's Resource Center Network and Tawanda Mrepa coming through from the Young People Mental Health Trust. And we are talking mental health and what it means. Now, I want to come to you and understand, in light of this global theme, what are some of the challenges that we have within our health sector towards addressing the issues to do with mental health?
I think one of the major challenges that we have is firstly the recognition that mental health is an issue.
Okay.
And I think now that recognition is there because you find that even the vice president made mention to that.
Right.
We need to start prioritizing mental health. And you find that even today, the Ministry of Health, in commemoration of Mental Health Day, recognized the need to raise awareness.
Right.
And they actually had an activity in partnership with the University of Zimbabwe today. So they
Right.
started with a march at Pararingatwa
Mhm.
and ended up at UZ.
Right.
While at the same time, we were also having our commemorations. So that recognition is important. But the challenges that are there is you'd find that mental health, if you link it with substance abuse, the hospitals are not adequate.
Right.
So we can speak about Annex, the one that's at Pari there. I hear it takes about 16
16.
patients,
Right.
and yet we have
With the rate at
a
which
pandemic of drug abuse.
I like that. Yeah.
It's a pandemic for
Yeah.
me because one, sometimes you might live with someone abusing drugs and never know, and probably get to find out when the substance has reached a certain level, right, and it has gotten into their brain. That's when you realize to say no, but this
There's a
person
problem, yeah.
so it's a pandemic. So we need to then recognize that we do have a pandemic of drug abuse. And my guess take is it's linked to mental health. If you look at the age group that's abusing drugs,
Right.
it's the young, the old, professionals, CEOs,
Right.
well-to-do people. So it doesn't select who, it's everyone. So we need then to have centers where we can commit these people. And not just have centers which are elite, because it then
Yeah.
becomes limited to the elite.
I actually wanted to
So I
ask
think
that.
we've
Yeah.
got about 6, if I'm not mistaken, institutions, government institutions. But you'd find that the capacity cannot hold, the people that are affected.
Right.
Then in terms of counseling services, we are used to an annual start center,
Yeah.
an Connect,
Yeah.
right? And then apart from hospital counselors and social workers, those are the ones that we've known to do my counseling sessions. So we now need to raise awareness and come up with referral pathways
Right.
where it's out in the open. Like for us as a Stride to address that, we've actually applied for a hotline
Okay.
to deal with mental health specifically for women because we are a women's rights organization.
Right.
So some of the challenges then linked to that is one, the economy. Right? If you look at the economy, there are so many challenges within the economy.
Right.
Unemployment, losses of jobs due
Right.
to COVID. Maybe even if you look at the fiscal economy,
Right.
salary versus
The cost of
the
living.
cost of
Ashikubetsera, yeah.
Saka nevana varida kuenda kuchikoro. So it's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot. Probably Tawanda, who's been dealing with the young people, can actually even speak to some of the
Challenges,
issues.
yeah.
Ujolo.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Ujolo. For young
Yeah.
people, it's it's like vatanga kunzwa
kama
dating manje
butterflies
manje,
ka.
like ama-2000
Mhm.
kuthiwa ama-2000 vele ahlanyiswa nguthando, and I'm thinking
Mm.
ndakapfura nepo.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
at
yeah.
that stage. Why didn't I kill myself or something? So
Yeah,
I don't know this
yeah.
njolo thing ukuthi you ivela ngaphi.
Mhm,
Simele sibone ukuthi singancedisana njani
Yeah,
ukuthi sibonise abantwana bethu ukuthi it's not the end
it's
of the
not the end of the
world
world.
if someone
Yeah,
says I love you and then tomorrow wakes up and says andichakude. Then passions of, the crimes of
crimes of passion. Yeah, yeah.
they're on the increase. State of mind.
Mhm.
So it all comes down, if you look at it, it's the state of mind
Right,
that's a cause of concern.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tawanda.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we have? I mean, she talked about institutions and stuff like that, but do people really know? Like in the ghetto, kunevano, ano jizero Canada to not. Apa bancha we see what's happening with this boy. Where do I take him?
I think in Zimbabwe nowadays, like now, we are lacking knowledge. We don't have knowledge. So I think one of the key area that we should maybe looking at going forward is raising awareness and increasing mental health literacy.
Right.
Because if we then start to come up with maybe counseling initiative to someone that who doesn't even understand or who doesn't
Counseling,
even know what mental
ndondi.
health is, they'll be like, huh? So counseling do it be?
Yeah.
But if you maybe first educate, because I'm realizing like right now, I'm just realizing maybe we are taking the wrong model. I think the right model is to first educate the people.
Right.
First, let them know what mental health is. How is it so important for you to know about how you feel, to know also about the impact it has in economical, social, and even the emotional. I think from that aspect, then we can also move forward to say, okay, so now these are the referrals, these are the counseling sessions that we can maybe take for whatever you're feeling. Because right now, I think
I also feel like we need to expand that field, so that muna angwendi ku New Start Center for counseling. Because the moment I end up New Start Center to aswaita chirwere, discrimination still exists. Though subtle, it's still there. And why would you go to New Start Center? Are you having sex? Maybe I'm not, but I'm really depressed. I need someone to talk to. So I feel like we need to expand, the places of accessing such services. Why do we have district offices if they cannot really serve some of these purposes? I want us to round up this conversation, and it's a good thing. I love it when people realize that we need to do certain things when they are seated here, because I believe that's the best way we begin to resolve our problems. You say the first step is for us to educate the people on what mental health is. What exactly are we dealing with? So as we round up this conversation, to people who are at home, who are just watching, people who binge on social media and don't even know that they're being affected. I saw this video of an 11-year-old boy who literally destroyed the whole house, ravished the whole house, TVs, fridge upside down, because the parents took away his gadget. How do we get our kids? How do we get mothers, that we may begin to focus on the kids once again, the parenting that we talked about? How do we get airplane mode and start rebuilding our mental health as a nation? What would you tell the government? What would you tell the young, the communities back home? Kuti toshika seipa kuti it's now a priority and we're dealing with this problem.
It's a very, very difficult question, but I'll try.
I know.
To it.
We need to start asking the difficult questions, you see? Yeah.
I think number one is parents. I'll start with parents. I think number one is parents. They need to state some standards or to be principled, so that when your yes and your no should be remain
What they are,
constant. Yeah, exactly. But nowadays, I think parents, they want to be loved by their kids, so they always pretend to be nice because they want their kids to love them, but they don't. They just want their kids to love them. So at the end of the day, kids are a bit spoiled. So your yes and your no should know my parents. And I think as a nation, what we need to do is to have a task force for mental health.
Right.
And very, very effective ones, not kungoita task force as effective, whereby we start to have mental health education at primary level, then mental health education at secondary level, then mental health education at tertiary level, mental health policies at primary, secondary, and tertiary level. We should have those mental health policies, bullying policies that should be in place. And then after that, we have the task force. Say each and every department, let's say at usage, sociology, there's economics, there's medicine, whatsoever department, they should have a task force representing that particular department for mental health only. It should be also visible, so that people can start to have access to this task force, to these offices. I mean, so and then from there, when we reach that level, I think we can maybe start to have some conversations, not these ones. And,
Okay.
but also at church level, the pastors, I believe the pastors should, I'm not challenging them, but I'm just saying the pastors should try to remain spiritual. When it comes to mental health, try to look for someone who is more professional for
Okay.
that thing, who can counsel someone.
Saka matimfundisi siyana nezvecounseling
No, they should be
handizve.
more spiritual. Let them remain spiritual. Let's support someone spiritual.
What does it
But when it
mean?
comes to
Hi,
counseling,
Bo.
when someone's having mental health challenges,
Yeah.
I witnessed this. All right. I experienced something. I went for a debrief somewhere, and then I was so down, and then they started to open Bible.
Okay. But right now, I don't know.
Christian, right? I was like, come on.
All right. I'll leave this one.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
totally understand. Sometimes, okay, God is my father, but right now I need a father in flesh. So, yeah, over to you. What do you think we need to do to
We
deal
have a
with
lot
this?
to do.
Right.
And I think what we need to do is just to come together and join forces. At whatever level, community level, or household level, institutional level, government level, we just need to come together because this is a cause of concern.
Right.
And I can't overemphasize the fact that we need to raise awareness. So information needs to be out there on what mental health is, what well-being is. So people might think well-being is about doing Zumba and doing marathons and things like that.
But it's beyond all of that.
It's beyond. It's taking time to sit down and just drink a glass of water.
Yeah, together.
And not think about anything. You're taking care of your well-being. It's also about not pressurizing yourself. And just also, just believing that with whatever I have, I can pull through.
And I'm enough.
And not think that I need to get more. Because then the need you want, the time you say you want more, the more pressure you put on yourself.
Right.
So, yeah, conversations need to start happening. I think already as a consortium, we've started these conversations. We have what are known as Wellness Wednesdays.
Right.
And we host them virtually. And we've also extended them now to the Secret Garden. So we have a Secret Garden at our offices. And that's there we've always created a safe space for women to have conversations. So we are extending it to young people as well to come and have these conversations. And I also mentioned the call center. We need a call center.
Right.
Where, someone just knows I can pick up the phone and talk to someone.
Right.
Because sometimes it's about, I talk to people who I know.
And they judge me.
Yes.
They
But if I
condemn
talk to
me.
someone who doesn't
Know me.
then I
Yeah.
think critical before I just conclude is that we have many skills set, exoding the country. So we've got counselors, they're leaving the country, and yet we need them here.
Right.
We really need them here. So to those who can offer counseling services, just come through. We are creating a referral pathway. Just provide your name and the services that you can provide. And then we create this huge directory so that anyone in need, Tawanda, many a times when I talk to him, he is so loaded because he's one person, but with so many more people to help.
Right.
So let's reduce the burden also on the caregivers.
Yeah.
And have more caregivers so that we spread. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, because at the end of the day, who is going to care for the caregiver
Actually, they say
themselves?
mental
Yeah,
health is everyone's responsibility.
exactly.
So I shouldn't say, ngaine cancel. But pamwe ndogona ngokutaura naye.
Yeah, maybe that's what they just need. Others
Yeah.
just need to cry. All right, as we round up this conversation, any parting shots?
I think for me is everyone is responsible, and we should be. I think I said this when we were at the university that we should be each other's keepers and we shouldn't judge.
Right.
Because judging, I might come to you and say, I wanted to talk to you and say, no, 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 I'm busy. The next thing you hear, I'm dead.
Hey,
And then that leaves you with your mental well-being is affected because you
Right.
start questioning yourself.
if I had been available.
So I
if
think let's take
yeah.
up the responsibility and make it a priority for all.
Tawanda.
Oh, I have a lot of things to all right, but maybe I should try maybe to. I think what to.
I like that you're here and you're thinking deeply.
Yeah.
So it gives me the assurance that as you leave this place, you've got a lot of things to put down
Yeah,
and
yeah,
to
yeah,
push.
yeah,
Yeah, but just your parting shots.
It's okay not to be okay, and also sometimes we should not give ourselves unnecessary pressure. If I fail in whatsoever that I'm doing, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a failure. So we should also give rooms for mistakes, and then we come back again, maybe doing something better. So I think the pressure from the young people nowadays is if someone says that I'm a failure, and then I start to view myself as a failure. If I fail in one area and then I became a failure, no, 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 no. There's a whole lot of things out there that you can maybe explore, and then you start to be successful. So it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to think deep. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's okay. But what you do next, that's very, very important. You should always try to look for the help and also try to redefine you and then look at the positive thing. And yeah.
All right. So you're not the only one. So it's okay not to be okay. And we are everyone's keeper. So let's make sure that in our communities, in our homes, we are there for the next person, because I think that's where the major issue is: availability. Thank you so much, Dorothy. Thank you, Tawanda, for coming through.
Thank you.
I know that you've got a very busy day today, but let's spread the gospel of mental health and wellness. And thank you so much for putting yourselves out there to do it for all of us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Excellent. And thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning in. I know you picked one or two things. Remember, it is everyone's responsibility to make sure that your own mental health is okay. The next person's mental health is okay. We can be and we should be each other's keeper. Zimbabwe, we have a huge responsibility. Our people are dying, and yet there's so much potential in them. Let's help one another to harness the strength that is in us. It's okay to fail. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It only means that you've learned a new way of doing this, something, and you'll be able to grow and develop as a person. So thank you so much, Zimbabwe. Remember, today is World Mental Health Day. Check in on the next person. Check in on your relatives. Check in on your children. Check in even on your siblings, because we are each other's keeper. Thank you so much. This was Behind the Microphone, a program brought to you right here on Zimbabwe Daily. Thanks to Young People Mental Health Trust and the Zimbabwe Women Resource Center Network for bringing us this program. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of day.